Welcome to this IELTS Listening Practice Test, brought to you by Spinta, your partner in English exam success. This test simulates the real IELTS listening experience with authentic question types, timing, and difficulty levels you'll encounter on exam day. You'll hear the audio only once, just like in the actual test, so stay focused and keep your pencil ready. Remember to read the questions carefully during the preparation time and transfer your answers accurately. This practice will help you build confidence, improve your listening skills, and familiarize yourself with the IELTS format.
Part 1. Now look at Part 1. You will hear a man calling a shop to ask about a computer repair. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning. The Tech Shop. Sophie speaking. How can I help?
Hello there. I'm having some trouble with my laptop, and I was hoping you could take a look at it.
We certainly can. Could I take your name for our system?
Yes, it's Edward Pierce.
Is that Pierce? P-I-E-R-C-E?
That's the one.
Thank you, Edward. So you need a computer repair. Can you tell me what the main issue is?
It's been very slow for a while, but now the screen keeps freezing completely. I have to restart it every time.
The screen is freezing. Okay. And what make and model is the computer?
It's a Dell Inspiron laptop.
A Dell Inspiron. Okay. Well, the first step is for you to bring it in so our technician can run a full diagnostic check. There's a set cost for the diagnosis, which is £30.
£30. And what does that cover?
That covers the time to identify the problem. We'll then call you with a quote for the full repair before we do any more work.
That sounds fair. I have a lot of important documents on there.
Don't worry. Our first priority is always to try and save all the customer's files before we do anything else.
That's a relief. How old is the computer, roughly?
Let me think. It must be about 4 years old now.
4 years. Okay. And how long does a typical repair take?
It depends on the problem, but we usually say to allow up to 3 days. We'll call you as soon as it's ready.
3 days. And where are you located?
We're on the High Street, directly opposite the station. You can't miss us.
Opposite the station. Perfect. Is there anything I need to bring with the laptop?
Yes, please make sure you bring its power cable. We have lots of chargers here, but it's always best to use the original one.
The power cable. Of course. I'll bring it down this afternoon. Thank you.
Part 2. Now look at Part 2. You will hear a park ranger giving a welcome talk to visitors at a nature reserve. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Oakwood Nature Reserve. My name is Sarah, and I'm one of the rangers here. It's wonderful to see so many people interested in our local wildlife. Before you head off, I'd like to give you a quick overview of the reserve. You can follow along on the plan in your leaflet. So we are currently standing in the Visitor Center, which is also the main entrance. This is where you can find maps, information, and a small cafe. As you leave the visitor center, you will see a path that leads directly ahead. This takes you to the Dragonfly Pond, which is crossed by a wooden boardwalk. It's a fantastic place to spot damselflies and other insects. If you turn right from the pond and follow the path, you'll enter the woodland trail. About halfway along this path, you'll find our wonderful bird hide on your left. It's a lovely, quiet spot to watch the birds without disturbing them. Now, if you return to the visitor center, and this time take the path to your left, you'll walk through the meadow, which is full of wildflowers in the summer. This path leads to our picnic area, which has several benches for you to use. And finally, in the far corner of the reserve, you'll see a small building. This is the ranger's office, which is also our education center, where we host school groups. Our primary purpose here at Oakwood is not just recreation. Our main aim is to protect rare species of plants and animals that are native to this area. We manage the land very carefully to create the perfect habitats for them. To help us do this, we ask that you follow a few simple rules. The most important of these is to always stay on the marked paths. This is to avoid disturbing ground nesting birds and to protect delicate plant life. We have a number of special events throughout the year. Our Night Watch event is particularly popular. It's a guided walk after dark where we use special infrared cameras, and it offers a unique chance to see badgers in their natural habitat. You do need to book for that well in advance. If you'd like to support our work, you can join our Friends of Oakwood scheme. The money from this goes directly towards our educational work, helping us to produce educational materials for schools and run our school visit program. Finally, as you walk around the reserve today, please help us with our conservation work. We have a sightings board in the visitor center, and we'd be very grateful if you could report any wildlife sightings from your visit. It helps us to build up a picture of the health of our reserve. Thank you, and enjoy your day.
Part 3. Now look at Part 3. You will hear two business students, Alice and Tom, discussing their presentation on the gig economy with their tutor, Dr. Fletcher. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Okay, Alice, Tom, let's talk about your presentation plan on the gig economy. It's a very relevant topic. What was your biggest challenge when you started?
Well, there's so much written about it, but it's all very opinionated. It was difficult to find a neutral perspective. Most sources are either strongly for it or strongly against it.
An excellent point. Maintaining objectivity is key. Let's look at your plan. Your introduction. It's a bit vague. It needs to add a clear definition of what you mean by gig economy right at the start.
A definition. Right. Then we were going to look at the historical context, but it feels like we have too much information.
I agree. This is supposed to be a short presentation. My advice would be to shorten this section significantly. Just a brief mention is needed.
We'll cut that down. For the section on the impact on workers, we've listed the pros and cons, but it's a bit general.
It is. The best way to improve this would be to use a specific case study. Look at one particular type of gig worker in detail.
A case study. Good idea. Then we have a section on the wider impact on the economy. We've made a few points, but it feels a bit weak.
It needs more substance. You need to add more statistical data here to back up your claims about its economic contribution.
We'll find some statistics. And for the final section, the future of work, we've used some articles from news websites.
For your conclusion, you need something more robust. You should try to find more academic sources to discuss future trends, rather than just journalists' opinions.
Okay. So, Alice, what was the most surprising thing you found? For me, it was that the gig economy is not a new phenomenon. We think of it as a modern, internet-driven thing. But temporary, project-based work has been common for centuries, especially for artists and craftspeople.
That's a fantastic point to make in your historical context section. And Tom, you mentioned your section on the economy is weak. As I said, it needs more data to support the claims you're making. It's too assertive without evidence.
I understand. And for the impact on workers section, you suggested a case study. I think it would be effective to focus on the experience of delivery drivers, as that's an area with a lot of recent research and public debate.
An excellent choice. That will make it much more concrete. So, what is your immediate next step as a team?
I think we need to consolidate all this feedback and create a detailed plan for our research. We need to be clear on who is finding what information before we start.
A very sensible plan. Organization is everything. Let's meet again next week to see the progress.
Part 4. Now look at Part 4. You will hear a lecture on the science of cryogenics. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning. In this lecture, we're going to explore the fascinating world of cryogenics. Now, when many people hear this term, they think of science fiction. But cryogenics is a real and important field of physics and engineering. So, what is it? Put simply, cryogenics is the science involved in the production and study of very low temperatures. We're talking about temperatures below -150 degrees Celsius. At these extreme cold temperatures, the properties of materials can change dramatically, which leads to some incredible applications. Perhaps the most famous phenomenon associated with cryogenics is superconductivity. This is a state where a material exhibits zero electrical resistance. This means that an electrical current can flow through it indefinitely without losing any energy. To achieve this state, materials must be cooled to their critical temperature using cryogenic liquids like liquid nitrogen or liquid helium. The ability to create a current with no resistance allows for the creation of extremely powerful magnets. These superconducting magnets are the key technology behind many modern marvels. For example, they are essential components in MRI scanners in hospitals. The powerful magnetic field they generate allows doctors to get detailed images of the inside of the human body. Cryogenics also has vital applications in the preservation of biological samples. When cells or tissues are frozen slowly, the water inside them forms large, sharp ice crystals, which can damage and destroy the cell structure. Cryogenic freezing, however, is extremely rapid. By using liquid nitrogen, samples can be frozen almost instantly. This process, called vitrification, prevents the formation of damaging ice crystals, allowing cells, tissues, and even embryos to be stored for long periods and then thawed successfully. You'll also find cryogenics used in the food industry. Rapidly freezing food with cryogenic liquids can lock in flavor and improve freshness, as it results in much smaller ice crystals than conventional freezing. Of course, this technology is not without its challenges. The main hurdle is the high cost and significant amount of energy required to produce and handle cryogenic liquids safely. This currently limits its widespread use. Future research in the field is therefore heavily focused on one key goal: finding new materials that are superconductive at higher, more easily achievable temperatures. The discovery of a room temperature superconductor would be a revolutionary breakthrough, transforming everything from energy transmission to transport. Cryogenics, therefore, is a field that, while dealing with the coldest temperatures imaginable, is a hotbed of innovation with the potential to reshape our world.
And pencils down. You've survived another IELTS listening marathon. If your brain feels like it just ran a mental obstacle course, congratulations. That means you're doing it right. Want to torture yourself with more tests? We mean enhance your skills? Head to spinta.org, that's spinta.org, where we've got reading, writing, speaking practice, and vocabulary games that are actually fun. Yes, fun and IELTS in the same sentence. We're rebels like that. Thanks for listening with Spinta. Now go treat yourself to something nice. You've earned it. Spinta. Push forward. Achieve more.